or something like that.
Oh shit! Sorry, we're going live. I have to apologize. Let's rock and roll.
All
I'm
right.
starting 5 minutes early.
Yo, okay. What's up, peeps? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I know you guys are used to us on a different platform, but nonetheless, I am DOZ. With me is Gary and Zam, and we are here to break down The Last of Us Episode 2, baby. All right, let's get
Infected.
into it. Yeah. What did you guys think? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Overall thoughts? Gary, I'll start with you.
I thought, considering how good the first episode was, I was a little bit trepidatious because sometimes in series, I don't know if you two agree with this, sometimes you could have a bit of a drop off. But this was really good. It was a different sort of thing than the first episode. The first one was like kind of world building. This was much more kind of getting to the meat of fact, like exploring more of the lore of this place, but also kind of putting us into like tense situations, around the different kinds of infected and stuff like that. And I thought this was really good.
Hmm.
I thought, it's. I mean, as I said, for a horror series, it was really good at ramping up the tension. It wasn't tense all the way through. They kind of built it up slowly, kind of like because you got more character development with Ellie and Joel. I can The only thing that I'd say I didn't quite like was that Tess got a bit sidelined towards the end, which was sidelined in this episode a little bit. And I would like to have seen the three of them interact a bit more, but that's a small thing. But apart from it, I really, really like this episode.
All right, Zam.
Yeah, fantastic. I've actually watched this episode twice, and
So did I.
So did I.
The funny thing is that when I first watched it, I didn't really appreciate the Indonesia scene too well.
Mhm.
Yeah, but then watching it a second time, I loved it because
Hmm.
you can see it from a different perspective. Watching it again, you know that the lady initially believes that she's being arrested, and you realize no, she's being asked for expertise, and then it also made me wonder: is like every episode of The Last of Us going to have a flashback sequence at the beginning, and then we go back to the modern times? I don't know how it's going to be, but it's still another great episode. Got straight into the meat and potatoes of what we know about The Last of Us, and it's going to be interesting to see where we go from here.
Yeah, I thought this was actually a really well done episode. Like, I'm already going to call it now. I think I said this last week that this will be a show of the year. Like, when we meet up at the end of the year, we're going to be talking about this show, guaranteed.
I agree.
It's that good. But, okay, so, yeah, we end the premiere episode with them, basically with Joel killing that security guard and Ellie like smiling and being like, I'm not sick. And then they find out that she is. And then we start the episode with the scientist Indonesia, which takes place September 24th of 2003. So the pandemic has happened around that time. We don't know like how
Two
long
days,
it was
two
going.
days.
2 days time, I
It was
think.
two days before it happened in America.
Okay.
Okay, so I thought this was very well done because the thing is that Indonesia has a very, should we say, toxic past to deal with, especially with like that sort of thing, with like it being a bit of a totalitarian police
Mhm.
thing. That's the reason when the police come in, the people start tensing up and stuff like that. And when like they come over to her and like they take her thing and they're like going, "Have I done something wrong?" It's like, "No, you're this person. Who's this?" It's like, "Yes." And
Yep.
and then they're looking at the blood and it says, "No, it's good for human." It says, "Well, you can't. It doesn't do it human." And then she takes the thing out of the mouth. That was really creepy.
Yeah, the fungus. Yeah. But yeah, okay, yeah, because it's like they start off with grabbing this virologist, as Daniel Vance says. Hello, Vance. And she's like, this cordyceps cannot survive in humans. It just doesn't happen. And then she goes into the room, like Gary just said. She sees the bite mark of this woman, and then she takes this fungus out of her mouth, and then uh, it all starts with like I guess like the lady had turned in a factory or some shit, and then she ended up biting two other people, and that was the start of the pandemic in Indonesia, and
Well,
that was
the
some crazy
person
creepy shit.
she ended up biting some people herself, and those people
Hmm.
had to be killed.
Yeah, because
The person
they
who
said
bit-
they said something
yeah.
like that 14 people were missing or something like that. That kind
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the person who bit her, they don't know where that person is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a whole kind of women. Also, what I liked about this scene was for initially because it was a good misdirect. You initially think oh look, Far Eastern military rule and stuff like that. They're gonna take this lady and treat her like shit. But no, they wanted her for her help. They genuinely wanted her for her help, and it wasn't they're making some. It wasn't like these people from the Far East making some coronavirus or anything like that. No, there's this incident happening and they want to put a stop to it. And so one second, and like one of the things that was mentioned in the first episode with John Hamm's character was the fact that these sort of funguses can come through flour and stuff like that, and they were working in a mill. So yeah, it's kind of organic to a degree,
Yeah, because as I said, like, my favorite scene of that particular part was when they go to, like, it basically looks like a desk, and they got tea, and then she's very calmly like saying, I said, what vaccine the cure can you make this? And then like she's looking at it, she's went, man. She's like,
how do you know this shit, Vance? That is some crazy shit.
Yeah. So when she starts going on about like there is no vaccine, there is cure.
Yeah, that was the creepiest part of the episode was when she had that bleak look on her face and she's like, quite frankly, here's the deal. There's nothing you can do. You got to bomb the city and everyone in it. And that will actually be something that we touch on later in the episode. But yeah, what's up, Cheeto? Yeah, no worries, dude. Thank you for the like.
What I liked it was like the quick role reverse. But initially, you see this lady, she seems to be somebody who is worried about her well-being and the fact that the military are coming to her. And by the end of that scene, she was kind of the one in charge saying, bomb the fucking place. And the military man is the one shitting himself. You know what I mean? I mean, she's shitting herself too, but
it was a nice subtle touch.
Yeah. He was like, she's in charge now. I know what needs to be done. You need to bomb the fucking city and kill everyone.
Yep.
And it's fucked.
I mean, to be honest, that was like really chilly because the thing is that she's like going like to save billions, you're gonna have to kill billions. I mean, it's kind of like the Star Trek thing of these are the many outweighed the
it's for the greater good, some kind of shit like that. Yeah.
And do you know what this reminded me of? And I know that you two are going to shout a bit at this. It kind of have you ever read the book World War Z? It kind of reminded me of that, like the fact that like there was like this whole movement to try and stop it, but then kind of like things that people did kind of made it worse. It kind of reminded me of that there was like a whole thing to stop it initially.
We're talking the Brad Pitt in World War Z.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the actual book. The
landscape.
Don't know about the book.
Anyway. So kind of reminded me of the book because I was kind of like,
hello, Jim.
Hello.
I was kind of like terrified, and then it just goes into the intro sequence. I was like, because like everything she said was like terrifying. It was like, good God, what is this thing? You know what I mean?
And then so we fast forward past the intro, and Ellie wakes up, and then Joel, without hesitation, has his AK in hand, stares right at her, and is like, "Look, motherfucker, you need to start explaining yourself. Like, what the fuck is going on here?" And she's like, "Well, Marlene told me not to tell you, motherfuckers, but I got to tell y'all what the fuck happened. I got bit. They made me do this weird shit where I'm supposed to count to 10 to see if I'm turning. And I might be skipping ahead a little bit, but like they fucking debate. Joel and Tess start to debate about like, what the fuck are we going to do? We got to figure this out. And then what cracked me the fuck up is when one of them is like, if she starts twitching and then she starts acting like she's all infected, and Tess just snaps at her like, don't you fucking dare do that shit to me. I thought that was great.
What I got from this scene though was initially that the idea of a vaccine of medicine, it's not new. It's not new to them. People have been sprouting this shit before, but with her being immune to bites, she seems to be a plausible way of getting a vaccine done.
Because what I was thinking when that she said that, I don't know if you two agree with me, is that kind of Ferber is using that as a kind of control thing, that they keep saying, "Oh, we're developing a cure, we're developing a vaccine."
Yeah, we've heard all this bullshit before. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you can see like Joel, the character of Joel, is very pessimistic, and he just thinks it's just a matter of time until she does turn.
Yep.
And the fact that she hasn't turned, and I like the way she explained herself, like, the reason why the test they did to me was that I just didn't turn. There's not much more test you can do. I survived and stuff like that.
And I also thought what was hilarious is she's like, I need to pee, and then she's like, can I go back here? Is there anything ugly back here? And then Joel just goes, no, just you. I thought that was fucking great. And then
I mean, this whole thing was great character development from all three of them. I mean,
yes.
Because I thought Anna Torv, knocked it out of the park with her performance. Because even though she does a lot, and I think a lot of people could kind of learn from her example that she kind of makes an impression which, as I said before, I thought she was a little bit sidelined, but the scene she gets, she knocks out the park.
But long story short, while they all kind of sit down to have a little meal or whatever, like Ellie is eating her chicken sandwich, she hears about like, okay, yeah, if you motherfuckers take me back to where we were from, if you take me back to that zone, you're not going to get your battery. And then they're like, you heard that? And she's like, yeah, I heard you talk about that shit. And then Ellie is taken back by like being out in the daylight because she's never had that before. She never got to go out with people during the daylight. Like she's always was stuck in the quarantine zone. So she's taken back, and then they go through like the abandoned hotel, and Joel was like, do you know what the fuck this is? And Ellie's like, yeah, I've read books. And then she goes up to the front desk, dings the bell, and acts like, hello, I'd like to purchase a room or whatever the fuck it is. And then she kicks over that skeleton or whatever the fuck. And they're like, Jesus, kid, you got to stop doing this shit.
What I liked was the use of the piano in all of that. Because like initially when you see some of the animals and you hear some of that piano sound, it almost feels atmospheric, but then you realize no, it's a frog pressing it. And then when she gets spooked by the skeleton, she falls back onto the piano and it makes the sound which is appropriate for what we just saw. So yeah, it's very good. A little bit of humor, before the shit starts happening.
Because when they get out of there, I mean, to us here, the journey through the cars and stuff like that, when they're talking about because like she said, well, I thought that there'd be lots of infected. It's like, yeah, we don't believe everything you feel, and then he starts saying like myths that I've come up about infected and stuff like that, and then when he talks about all of a sudden like they all freeze when this like blood curdling like scream just comes out. It's like, oh shit. And it's kind of the first bit of like, what the hell is out there, sort of thing.
And this is where you start to see Joel and Ellie kind of sort of bond, because Ellie asks him like, how long do infected people live? And then he tells her like, some people will last a month or two, some people will last 20 years. And she was like, was it hard for you to kill infected people knowing they were once real people? And he says sometimes. So that tells you that Joel has had to kill people before, like that he didn't want to, but he had to.
He knew.
Yeah.
If they ever did the prequel series, he's already said he's killed lots of these.
That's what I want that's what I want Last of Us 3 to be. If they're going to make a third game, I want Last of Us 3 to be about that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then looking down from the balcony of the abandoned hotel, there's a sea of infected people just lying together, squirming on the ground, and the fungus grows underground like fiber-like wires, some of them stretching over a mile. And you step on a patch of cordyceps in one place, you can wake a dozen infected from somewhere else. Now they know where you are.
Just seeing them like almost swimming on the ground.
That was some freaky shit.
That was like, and you're trying to focus on it. It's really hard. It's like, but they're almost like a wave, like they're moving like a wave, so to speak. And they're all just there, and they're multiplying as well with every person that goes into the city for a run.
I mean, that was so creepy because I looking down and you kind of like the way that the sun kind of moves over them, and it's kind of like it's almost like a tidal wave, almost a lot of like of humanity. I was kind of like freaked out. It's like, what the hell's that? And you realize, oh, it's people. It's like, and then like because all you hear, you're not really hearing moans, you're just hearing like slight noises. And it's just like because it's kind of like silent apart from that. You're just like,
Yep. But
I was really tense from that moment on, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I had to watch that twice because I had to do a double take. I was like, those are motherfucking infected down there when I saw that shit. I was like, oh, okay. That's a nice touch. Okay, but yeah, Tess basically tells Ellie, like, you got to watch your shit. You got to watch everything you do because you're not immune from being ripped apart, which is true. And then the trio traveled to the building that used to be a museum because they were debating, do we take the long way or do we take the we're fucking dead way? And then they're like, fuck it, we have to cut through this museum because it's the only way we're going to make it through to the state house. And that's where they were supposed to drop Ellie off at. But they come to face with a clicker, and
no. They go up the stairs. They go into like the pool first, and then they go up the stairs.
Yep.
And the way they go up the stairs, it's kind of like a haunted mansion because the stairs kind of go like circle up, and then like all of a sudden you hear. And for everyone who's played the games,
go on.
I said for everyone who's played the games, we kind of know what's coming. But
for those that have never seen this shit, by the way, there's going to be spoilers. So why are you here if you haven't seen it yet? But go ahead.
Spoiler review on the title, but I just want to say that, like a video game, to make sure that you can't go back. If they want to conceal you, they conceal you. So that the moment they go through those doors, the decay that's happened to the hospital, to the hotel, has trapped them in. Also, I just want to add. That prior to them going in there, we saw a bomb blast on the ground. We saw where a bomb had hit. And one of the things that bugged me about this episode was the fact that the bomb hit here, yet the fucking buildings around that bomb blast are still structured. They're still stable. You know what I mean? Like, if a bomb hit there, then the surrounding buildings would have been obliterated. You know what I mean? But no, they're still there.
That was what I was going to touch on. Thank you for saying that. Because, going back to earlier in the episode when it was like, bomb here, Ellie asked, what the hell happened to all this? And Tess was like, this is what had to be done to survive. We had to bomb shit out. Some places made it, some didn't.
Do you know what? I mean, I'm going to see this now. I want to see kind of like what the US response to that was, because maybe we see Boston before the outbreak and kind of and then having to bomb stuff. That would be making an excellent
I'd like to see that in Last of Us 3, where it's like, okay, it takes place directly after Sarah dies, and then from there it's like, how the fuck does everything go from what we currently have now to just war torn? That's what I'd like to see, is the evolution of that. That would be dope.
I love watching the reaction of the infected to the sunlight. Are they allergic to sunlight? Is it like Will Smith's version, I Am Legend?
No, I just think it because fungi is grows in the sunlight. So I think that they were just the fungi in their head was reacting to the sunlight. I think that's what's going on.
I'll be honest with you. When I saw those clickers, a part of me said, I'd love to shave off a bit of their head, put it in a frying pan with some omelette. You know what I mean? And cook it up, a bit of mushroom.
And only you would be the one that would say shit like that.
Right? Can I ask a question about the clicker? Do you think that was an actual actor, or do you think that was CGI?
That was an actor. Yeah. I got to take a minute to talk about the cosmetic value of the clickers. They fucking nailed it. Like, the clickers were the MVP of this episode for me, easily, without a doubt. Seeing the clickers, I popped. I was like, yes, okay, they got the clickers exactly how I envisioned them.
Oh,
the way they should look.
By the way, did you notice that when they were leaving, after they were staying in that room, where Ellie was sleeping, and the moment Joel opened the door, it sounded like a clicker.
Yep, you could hear it.
So exactly. So,
yep, they nailed it.
Yep.
Yeah, the clickers were the MVP of the episode for me.
I just want to say, Daniel Vaughn said the bomb was probably a fuel explosion, so while it left a crater, it's mostly just fire.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so they travel inside the museum. They come to face with an infected creature while Joel tries to fight it off. Tess and Ellie run to a safer place. Joel ends up with Ellie crouching right next to a creature, and Joel ends up shooting it. And Joel kills monsters, basically. And then Ellie got bit again, which did not happen in the video game. So I found out that this was a nice touch, too. because she was only bitten that one time in the video game. Here she got bit again. What'd you guys think about?
Well, we never saw her get bit in the first place.
Mm-mm.
So in a way, this is like cementing the fact that she's immune. Oh, it was CGI. They said that.
Oh, okay, it was CGI. It still works though.
No, that's on the kiss scene, but the clickers themselves were real people.
Yeah,
like even when they're walking around the terrains and stuff like that, they were practical sets. Obviously, maybe some of the background was done CGI in a way, but they were walking around practical sets, which honestly, like, as much as CGI is improving all the time, nothing's better than something that's real that you can touch.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, that you can climb over and stuff like that. Look authentic. It's the best.
Yeah, because like when she ties that thing to her foot at the end, because you get something that's going on with her, because the way that she ties it to her foot and she's like reacting, and like you see like Joel go kind of like react like something's going on here.
And now Joel is starting to become skeptical because now she got a second bite, and Joel's like, "Oh shit! Now I got to deal with this." So basically, Ellie, Tess, and Joel make it all the way to the truck that they were set to take for the journey, but they're met with dead bodies. All the fireflies at the post ended up getting infected. One of them got bit, and it was good versus evil, and everybody lost. And now there's nobody alive to guide them. And then here comes the plot twist of the episode. If you've played the game, you know what we're going to talk about. If you haven't, you know what that means. Tess is bitten. She starts losing her shit and is basically like, "Look, motherfucker, I'm not making it. Like, my journey ends here." And Joel is in denial. He's like, "No, come on, you got to make it. You got to make it." And Ellie is like, "She's infected." And that was basically the plot twist of the episode.
Yeah, and then he shoots that guy. Sorry.
No, go on, Bossman. You started.
No, when he takes a gun and shoots the people, and all of a sudden, like the thing around the guy he shots, like finger kind of like twists around, and then he starts twisting, and those guys on the floor, and then all of a sudden, see them all like get up as one and go, and then they'll like book it as fast as they can.
I wasn't going to talk about that just yet, but like basically, Tess is like, "Okay, Ellie, take off your bandage, show me your arm," and then she's like, "Look. This happened like 3 weeks ago in the video game. It was like, I was bitten an hour ago and it's already worse." And she's like, "This is fucking real, Joel." And then here's something different that they said. In the video game, it's you've got to get her to Tommy's. In this, it's you got to get her to Bill and Frank's. So we're going to get to see Bill and Frank next week in next week's episode and how that came to be in their relationship, because Bill and Frank were a couple in the video game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. But she's like, "I've never asked you for anything. You need to shut the fuck up because I don't have that kind of time." Yeah, I thought she was going to kick the walkway off the building after they crossed the bite too. That would have been interesting to see if they were going to do that.
Yeah, everyone knows that the real meat and potatoes of this story is Joel and Ellie. Everyone knows that. So in a way, sacrifices are going to happen during the course of this journey. Mm-hmm. And it could have gone various ways. It could have gone with her being bitten, her being killed, her maybe turning on them, her going back. I mean, it could have gone, but obviously her being bitten and making the sacrifice play was the way it went.
Or even them separating. That could happen too. They could just be like, "You know what? We tried. We'll both go our own way." But
there's always elements in every show we think to ourselves, why are they doing it like this instead of not doing it like that? Like, when she made the sacrifice play, because once she told everyone, "Okay, get the fuck out of here." Mm-hmm. And by the way, there's so much stuff there. There's so much weapons, equipment. God knows those boxes need to be checked, everything. But they never got a chance to. And he walked away. Joel walked away with nothing. From that encounter. Yeah, but nevertheless, she's put food on the ground. She's throwing grenades on the ground, and she wants to light everything up. But I'm thinking to myself, why try to start a lighter? Just pick up one of those grenades. You know what I mean?
Yep. Set it off and get the fuck out.
Yeah, set it off, and everyone would, including yourself, we all die.
Yep.
But no, she has to make out with Mushroom Head.
I enjoyed that. That was like, okay. I was like, and there's some things too. I think you guys might agree. Some of the shit looks better here if they would have added it in the video game. Like, I'm like, Why didn't they add this in the fucking game? That would have been so cool. How
I've got to say that was a bad compared to. I mean, I don't know about you, Jose, but I thought I preferred this death to the one that happens in the video.
I liked it. I liked it how she died here versus in the video game. Just like last week, how I liked the helicopter crashed when the city was fucking going nuts. Yeah, the plane crash was happening. I like that than how the city just came on fire in the fucking video game. I'm like, man, this is stuff that I wish they would have incorporated now.
Daniel Vaughn says, I love the way the infected reacted. If you're not running from them, they don't want to tear you apart. They want to spread the infection.
Spread the infection. Yep.
Look, I looked at it like this. I looked at the fact that because she was already bitten, they kind of knew. Because a lot of them ran past her. Yeah, before one guy initially noticed her, I probably looked at her, thought, you know what, I'm going to make out with her.
Yep.
Because apparently, like, these are not like normal zombies. Like the persona of the person is still in there, but they got no control because it's the fungi which is controlling.
Yeah, the fungi spreads to the brain and that takes over.
And they're almost like watching themselves within themselves being taken over by a different entity. If you know what I mean. So, But
okay, basically, yeah. Ellie does not want to leave Tess behind, and then the professor in Jakarta was hoping to spare the rest of the world by bombing the city. Tess is pushing Joel to save who you can save under their current circumstances, and then before a swarm of infected creatures enter the building, Tess spreads over a container of gasoline and hand grenades over the floor of the building, and when they enter, one of the creature comes up and puts his tendrils in her mouth. She takes a lighter, flicks it, throws it on the ground, and sets the building on everything on fire. And then Joel and Ellie just fucking yeet the fuck out of there. And now we start to find out who Bill and Frank are kind of in the trailer, but that's basically the end of the episode. The building explodes and they get the fuck out.
Also, by the way, did you hear like the screams? Like they were human screams.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They weren't screams of monsters. They were.
I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah,
yep.
That was a nice touch as well. It was a good way, and this kind of really sets up now as well the true story of The Last of Us, Joel and Ellie, because it's now just them two. They're going to rely on each other, and this is where the sort of father-daughter relationship kind of begins now. Because at least with Tess. There was a third person. There was a go-between. If anything, she was going to be playing she was the more maternal person of the three.
Yep.
But now Joel has to be paternal and all of that, and yeah, it's going to be interesting.
And another thing too, which is another touch. Later in the game, Ellie's like, "Yo, can I get a gun?" Here, straight out the gate, she's like, "Let me get a gun," and they were like, "Fuck no." So now that dynamic is also going to be interesting. Like, when will Ellie finally get her gun? Will it come earlier than expected? Will it come like in the video game when Joel's like, all right, now you can handle this 9mm? You know, that's going to be interesting to see. And I can't wait to see how Bill and Frank end up meeting up. You know, it's like they said in the trailer, you know, if I feed you, I got to take care of everybody else. And this ain't going to be no free Arby's. And then Frank goes, I didn't know Arby's was giving out free meals. And that's what I liked about the trailer for next week's episode. But
I'm gonna actually watch the trailer. I never got a chance to watch it, but it'll be good for them to get some human interaction and stuff like that. But now they're on the road to nowhere to a degree as well, because they just like Joel and Ellie, they're kind of winging it. Yes, they're going to see Frank and who? Frank and Bill, because that seems like the logical option, but they are winging it.
Yeah, and here's another thing too. And the difference is when the test scene happens, she's like, you got to get her to Tommy's. Here, it's you got to get her to Frank and Bill's. So it makes you wonder, like, okay, like I know Joel and Tommy kind of like are not talking, or like maybe Tommy's gone missing. That's going to be interesting to see too. Like, when will Tommy turn back up? How the fuck will all that happen?
Yeah, because I mean, the thing is that this, I think, as we've been seeing this whole time, this thing has kind of like followed the games to a extent, but kind of is doing its own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's diverging a little bit.
It's following the game, but at the same time, it's taking its own path, which is what I like to see.
Yeah.
With all the fuel, one spark is all it would have taken. I understand them building the anticipation, but it made my brain work too much. Yeah, you got to kind of take your mind out of it when it comes to shows like this. you kind of got to suspend your disbelief like a wrestling match. You got to be like, okay, I can't fully get invested into it.
Who was with
Yeah,
Ellie
you
when
can
she
have
got
it.
bit? She was clearly like she was alone.
What were you going to say? Okay, who was that? Riley. Her best friend Riley. So they'll have to explore on that dynamic too.
You would have thought that maybe the best thing for Ellie is to within the compound that Joel was staying in, if there is like a scientist or any sort of hierarchy, that this would be better news for them. Just tell them, don't fucking kill her. Just he would speak to. You could keep Ellie hidden somewhere, and then speak to them and say, okay, don't kill her. Look, we might have an answer to a vaccine or a cure. This girl is immune. Let's take it from there and bring our top guys into this.
But I think the problem is though. I think the thing is that they know that the less people know, the less chance that Ferber or another group that might want to take her for nefarious purposes get a hold of her.
That's a good point.
I agree, but it's weird in a way because someone like her benefits everyone.
Yeah.
I mean?
But then at the same time, like Bossman just said, you got all these other militia groups and shit that might come after her.
Because like Sam, imagine if, let's say, for example, Ferber got hold of her, and then they started to make cures. It's going to be right. You have to follow these specific rules before we give you the cures. You have to make sure you have to give up this amount of food ration cards. You have to do this. You have to do that, and they want to avoid that because they're all about pro-democracy and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I agree.
But we'll never know.
I also think making a cure as well is not as straight. Hollywood makes it very simple. Look, this person's immune now. We can make a cure. Could me, any of us three do that? No, we couldn't. You need the right sort of mind, and if those people are available, because so many people have turned into zombies.
I think that's why the place that they took to, I think they said was like a Firefly hospital or something, or some sort.
Yeah, and I know they're not going to do this, but if they did like an alternate ending, I would like to see Ellie die and there's a vaccine be made. I'd like to see somewhat of a happy ending, but I know we're not going to get that here.
No, I mean, if there's going to be an ending, I want it to be that she donates her blood, they do that, but then Joel and Ellie go on to do their own thing after that, and then maybe there's a way for Amanda to
they won't do that. I see it being like how it was in the original game where Joel's he's an asshole and he lies. That's exactly how I see it going down. Because Joel is an asshole. He's admitted it. He's like, I'm an asshole.
Zombie films and series, they don't really tend to have happy endings.
No, they don't.
It's more about just, do we survive to fight another day? Really, it's just a period in these people's lives, and if they all make it or if they don't, that's really it.
And for God's sake, I know this is probably going to piss people off. Give us just one season. If you're going to do everything in the original game, give us that. Don't give us Last of Us 2. Please, God, don't do it. Because it's going to fuck everything up.
I think the thing is, what I'm hoping that they do, as we've been saying, is do their own thing. Because if they do Last of Us 2, it'll be its own thing.
But don't fuck it up. Don't kill Joel in the first act like they did in the second game. Don't do that. Let Joel live.
I mean, it'd be good to see, Pedro Pascal to have maybe another love interest after Tess.
That'd be nice. But anyway,
I guess, but he can't detract from the fact that he needs to be the father figure to Ellie as well at the same time.
Or here's a plot twist: we kill?
He needs to mourn a little bit as well because he just lost her.
Or here's a plot twist: let's kill Tommy. Let's do that. Let's go outside the box. Instead of Joel dying, why not Tommy die? Mm-hmm. At least it'd be something a little different.
Yeah, initially I want this show to be very similar to the games, but then I want it to be its own thing. For sure. Daniel Vance says, when people ask how I spent my birthday, I'll tell them I spent it watching the best YouTube. Oh, thank you very much.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, mate.
Oh, I'm too blonde to figure that out, that it was his birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And happy birthday, Block. Yes, I'm drinking coffee at 3:30 in the afternoon. Deal with it.
But yeah, I was going to say, the thing is that as I said, this series so far hasn't put a step wrong.
Yeah, I don't have any complaints about the first two
As I said,
episodes.
the only thing that kind of got a little complaint about is it felt that Tess was a little bit sidelined. I would have liked to see more scenes, but that is like a little smidgy little complaint. I would have liked to have seen more of her character.
Yeah, it would have been nice, but considering in the game too, Tess was kind of short. Her time was kind of limited, so it's kind of one of those things of what more could you do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we can go ahead and get ready to give our final ratings and wrap this up. I think, okay, 35 minutes is about a good length. That's what she said.
This is Blue, by the way.
Hi, Blue. Okay, who wants to start with their final ratings? Gary?
This was shorter than last week.
Yeah.
I think it used its time very well. The scares in it were really well earned, and it wasn't all the time. It was still very tense. I mean, there's times where I had to literally pause and take away from it, and it's taken a while for a horror film to do that to me. And it actually earned its scares that it got. So I'm going to give it a very solid. I'm between 9 and a 10.
Yeah, I could see that.
I tell you what, I'll give it a 9.5. There you go.
All right, Sam?
First of all, before I could mention my mark, Daniel Vance, I'm sorry, I'm not Cheeto. I don't know how to do this poll thing. That's really his department. So just put your mark in the chat, and
yeah, just put your mark in the chat, and we can read it out for you if you want it.
Whoever's in the chat, if you want to give it this particular episode a mark, we'll read it out.
Yeah, if you want to give your ratings and thoughts, we can read them out. We've got time. It's not like any of us have anything to do at the moment.
I'm going to give this episode a 8 out of 10. Once again, good solid stuff. I liked it. I mean, it's by the numbers to a degree, and I mean, it's very hard for me to give it a more superior mark because it is good, and I appreciate what I saw. You know, to say that I was, you know, I was blown away by it would be false, but I enjoyed it.
But here's a question: what would you do to make it? What would it take to get your criteria up to a 10?
I don't know. Like
it's tough, isn't it?
Like, because I never played the games. I've only watched it. You know what I mean? So I can't really appreciate it like you guys. You know, and when I say watched it, like I mean, sometimes I would just skip over the gameplay just to get to the cutscenes. You know what I mean? Because it was all about the story. 10 out of 10.
10. Yeah, I can't argue that. Yeah. I can't argue that if you're going to give it a 10. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 10. Out of everybody here, it's getting a 10 out of me. This is one of those shows where I'm like, thus far, I don't have any complaints. I know it's inevitable that we're going to have a filler episode because every show has one. Every single show, it has an episode where you're like, this one's okay. And it's going to happen with Last of Us.
I
think it will.
It's going to be a short season. It's not going to be like your usual like 12 or 10 episodes. I think it's going to be like something like
it's 9 episodes.
It's 9 episodes.
No,
but
it's 9 episodes.
We're going to get a dull episode. I mean, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. There's going to be a time where we're going to be like, this will be about a 7 or 8 out of 10. It's still good. It just wasn't great. It's going to happen.
I have actually installed. I got the Last of Us game because on PlayStation Plus it was free on a particular month.
Yep.
So I managed to get it, but I still haven't played it. So at some point for NerdTube, I will be playing Last of Us.
Yeah, and then you can watch the show and then come back and tell us what you think.
But
yeah, exactly. Well, I'm actually going to watch the show first, and then I'm going to get into the game. You know. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, to be honest with you, this is probably set the bar in regards to video game adaptations.
I can't wait to see God of War now because if that becomes a TV show, dude, it's going to be epic. If God of War gets its own TV show, that will be fucking epic.
There's a guy called Chris Stuckman. You know who Chris Stuckman is?
Yeah.
He's on YouTube. He's one of the biggest YouTube movie reviewers. And Chris Stuckman, he said about regarding setting the bar and all of that, the benchmark and all of that. And he said that there has been those benchmarks have happened before Last of Us. And I do recommend watching that episode, that thing if you look for it on YouTube. It
Okay.
seems like things like Sonic, for instance. They were it was really popular. Yeah, and a lot of people liked it. There was a couple of other mentions as well. He said, but it slipped my mind. But I do agree with him what he says. And but yeah, obviously people are looking at The Last of Us now as the benchmark, which is
This is gonna be a pretty tough show to beat, I think.
Detective Pikachu as well is a pretty good one.
Yeah. He mentioned Detective Pikachu, by the way. Yeah, he mentioned that.
As I said,
I haven't seen it.
As I said, this will be. As I said, this is going to be probably the benchmark of good shows because, as I said, please make a good. By the way, if you listen to me, please make a good Zelda series. There you go.
Zelda, yeah, that'd be nice. I wouldn't mind seeing Zelda get its own TV show.
Well, look, they've done Witcher, and in my opinion, it's fucking shit. It really is fucking shit. Like, I want a good show, and like it's just so poorly done. Henry Cavill, fun enough, is going to be taking the reins for doing Warhammer, and
it'll be interesting to see how he does.
And it will be because he'll be running it. He'll be doing it himself. He wouldn't be. So hopefully he'll be able to put his spin on it and make it feel authentic. But I don't know much about Warhammer, to be honest with you. So I'm not the best person.
Yep.
So yeah.
But anybody else got anything to add before we wrap?
Yeah. What do you guys think they're going to do next episode? So I've got a prediction, and this is going to be one of my vaulted Gary predictions. I reckon next episode is going to be opening with Boston before the.
You mean that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's my prediction. If that prediction doesn't come true, fine. But I'm calling it now. That's what's going to happen next episode.
I think we might see a little bit, considering there's a trailer for Frank and Bill. We might see a little bit of them, what happened with them before the outbreak or during the outbreak.
I think this is going to be their episode, actually, to tell you the truth. More so Joel and Ellie. I think I'd like to see it be dedicated to Frank and Bill. Like their dynamic and how it came to be and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go watch that trailer now. Actually,
yeah, so, go watch it now, and and we will see you guys, I guess, next week for the next episode. So yeah, this is Go ahead. If anybody has anything to plug, go ahead.
I just want to say that this Wednesday we'll be doing our National Treasure reviews. There might be some other stuff coming up in between now and after that, but yeah, we'll be doing that. Obviously, Mondays will be strictly for The Last of Us, so keep an eye out for that. And at some point, obviously, I will be playing the Last of Us video game as well, so keep an eye out for that.
Yep. All right, gang. I am DOZ. With me is Gary and Zam, and we thank you very much for watching. Share, subscribe. Go ahead.
One more thing. The Royal fucking Rumble.
Yep, this weekend.
Jose is going to be hosting that. You know what I mean? Hopefully with some other people as well. Maybe Ginger Greek. Yeah. So keep an eye out for YouTube for that live watch along of the Royal motherfucking Rumble. Let's hope we get a surprise winner this year, because I think we're due one. It's been 3 years since McIntyre won it, which was a surprise in its own right. I think we're due one now. No old school guys are coming back.
No Rock, we don't need you.
Yeah. No Roman Reigns or like reoccurring guys winning it, and no obvious ones either. Like, because even though I would like Sami Zayn to main event WrestleMania, I wouldn't want it through the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
like Sami Zayn has already, in a way, become quite established as a top tier guy to fight Roman Reigns. He doesn't need the Royal Rumble win; somebody else does. But then again, if that's the case, I take that back. The belts are unified, aren't they?
Yes.
Roman Reigns got them both. Yeah, if Roman Reigns got them both, yeah, Sami Zayn needs to win the
Royal Rumble. Yeah. But all right, if nobody else has anything to say, I'll get back to my outro. I am DOZ. With me is cheers, everybody. Cheers, Vance. All right, now I'll take this motherfucker home. All right, I am DOZ. With me is Gary and Zamario, and we are going to see you guys next week. We are NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you've never fucking heard of. Well, maybe you kind of sort of have. But we will see you guys next week for The Last of Us Episode 3. Like, share, and subscribe, and tell all your friends. Bye-bye.